Hello, my name is Nicholas. I'm going to present to you my board game that is called Magia, Duel of Invocations. So the basic premise of this game is player will be given cards that consist of the three elements, that is Ignis, Ventus, and Terra. These cards can later be used by the player uh, to be combined into spells that they can use to defeat their enemies. So now I'm going to show you some components of my game. So before I show you the components of my game, I'm going to report on some changes I made to my game since the previous report video. So since the report video, I have done 3 test plays, and from the 3 of them I have made some major changes that also changes the components of the game. So the first big changes is, so previously players can create their own deck where each deck will contain 30 cards, and each deck must contain 5 cards of each element, and the rest is up to the player, which means that each player will get about 60 cards to make it into their deck. That means 2 players will get 120 cards. So the changes I made is now I removed that deck creating mechanic in my game. So each player will only have 10 of each elements. That means each player will only have a deck that consists of 10 Terra, 10 Ignis, and 10 Ventus, which result in only needing 60 cards for both players. That means 30 for player 1 and 30 for player 2. And it also helps balancing the game, since player now cannot like spam one element in their deck. And the second changes is I also made some changes to the spell. So before, in my spell book, there's around 10 buffs and debuffs, which makes it having a lot of buff and debuff card. So now I have decreased them into only 3 buff and 2 debuffs, which also greatly decreases the cards that is used in this game. Well, that means that each player only needs like 5 cards to track their buff and debuff. So now I'm gonna start explaining the component. Oh yeah, I also remove all tokens, since I decided that using dices to keep track of the health, defense, mega defense, and buff is much easier than creating that much tokens just to represent the number values. So first, the component of the game is the deck. So this is a deck. So each player will have this deck. It contains 10, as I said before, 10 Ventus, 10 Terra, and 10 Ignis. You can see. Yeah, and the board. Actually, to play this game, you don't really need a board. You can also use a table. The only thing you need is the cards, the dices. So yeah. And then we have the player tracking card. So this is the health card, defense card, and mega defense card. So this helps them track their stats each round. So oh yeah, another changes I made is that now each player only have 60 points for their health. This 60 point of health is now represented with 2 dice, 2d10 dices instead of tokens previously. Then now there's also the defense and mega defense. These both should actually be represented with d10 dices too, but since I don't have enough d10 dices, I'm gonna use these dices to represent them like as d10. So what you see here is this is actually not supposed to be the d12 or d20. All of these are supposed to be d10. And then this is the buff cards and debuff cards. This is to help the player track like which active buff and debuff do they have. Each player will have 5 of these, and they are also tracked with d10 dices. This is not d10 dices, I'm just using it to represent the d10 dices. The other main components of my game is the rulebook. So the rulebook will be mainly used by the player to see the list of all available combination spells, and also to see like the basic game guide, like the round progression, and also the mechanics on how spell stacks or don't stack, and how damage and defense works. I also forgot to add that there's also I will also provide 1d10 dices here to help the player track the round from 1 to 5. They only need to check the round from 1 to 5 because after round 5 the card cap doesn't increase anymore. So now I'm gonna explain to you the way to play this game. So before I start, since my report video, after some test plays, I did like 3 test plays. I also made some gameplay changes to the core mechanics, which I have stated some of the big ones in the components part, such as the one where the deck. Now each player have a fixed deck of like 10 of each elements. So changes I haven't mentioned are, so now at the start of a game, instead of like each player taking 3 cards before the game start, now they only take 2 cards. Yeah, so in my game, before the game starts, the players will roll their d10 dice, and the one who has the higher value will always go first in each round. So after some test plays, what I found is this really favors, this really favors the first player. So after test play 2, I decided to make it so that at round 1, player 2 now can draw 2 cards instead of 1 in order to balance the game. Okay, so now I'm gonna explain to how to play. So like as I said before, so each round, each player will take 2 cards, and then the round will start. So the player who has the higher dice value will go first. At round 1, the the one who goes first can draw 1 and play 1. And then player 2 can, like I said before, they can draw 2 and play 1. When we're starting round 2, each player will have the same draw and play amount. So round 2, player 1, player 2 can draw 2 cards and play 2 cards. Round 3, they both can play and draw 3 cards. Round 4, they can draw and play 4 cards. And then round 5 and afterwards, they can draw and play 5 cards. There are some cards in this game, such as buffs, that can increase the draw number or the play number or the cap in their hands. Okay, so I forgot to state that in this game, each player can only have maximum 10 cards in their game unless affected by a buff. And then each player only have 60 health, as I stated before in the components part. So each round will go like player 1 draws and play, player 2 draws and play, and then it will keep repeat until one of the player dies, or in other words, their health reach 0. Thank you for listening. There are some things I forgot to add. So let's say in a round, after the player play their cards, to cast a spell, they must put the cards played into the discard pile on their left. Yeah, and if a player run out of cards in their deck, they need to ask their opponent to reshuffle their discard pile, and then that reshuffled discard pile can be used as their deck, as their new deck in a sense. The reason I make it so that the enemy is the one who shuffle their discard pile is to make sure the player cannot do any manipulation on the shuffling. So before I show you the gameplay example, I'm gonna clarify a few things. So this is test play 3. So for test play 1 and 2, I still simulated on using randomizer from the internet to randomize the cards, and using notepad to keep track of the health and buff. So meanwhile, for this test play 3, I used tabletop simulator to simulate the game, to give better visual on how the game works. So it is possible for me to make it in tabletop simulator because my game's main component is only the rulebook and the cards. So to clarify a few things before the video start. So in my last iteration of the game, like my last update is that so round 1, player 2 can draw 2 cards, right? So that changes is made after this test play. So in this test play, player 2 can still draw and play 2 cards at round 1. So and then for the video that I'm gonna show you, I'm just to make sure that the video is not too long. I'm just gonna show you the first 5 rounds of the game. Oh, yes. Now we're gonna start the game. Now first roll d20 to see who goes first. Go roll the one. I get 4, of course. You get 6. Okay, you go
6.
first. Yeah, each player draw 2
5.
cards before the game starts.
Alright.
You
So
go
it's my
first, then?
turn,
Yeah,
right?
you go first. Eh.
Then I play 2 weakness.
Huh? What? You can only play one.
Wait, 1 duo. If I'll play 1 weakness.
I know your cards. Okay, berarti it's 5 damage ya.
Yes, 5
Berarti
damage.
rotation value 5. Health gua 55 mestinya berarti kan? It's
Yes.
55.
So 5 and 5.
Okay. Now it's my turn. Lu udah kan? This is my turn. Ini kan my turn. Since I'm player 2, for the first round I can draw 2 and play 2. I will draw 2. And then I will play 2 Ignis.
Alright then. So I take 9 damage. And then have a burn debuff
Yep,
for 3 turns.
3.
Then I draw 2.
You can play 2.
Then I can play 2.
Yeah, you get the burn damage. Just,
At the start of my turn?
yep, terus duration lu berkurang 1. Yeah,
The damage is what? 3?
3.
Still 3.
Okay.
Hmm.
Thinking.
I'll play a Ventus draw.
Eh, Oh, okay. You can only play 1 card left.
I'll play another Ventus and then I draw. Oh fuck,
Huh?
nggak sengaja deal. Gue nggak sengaja deal. Give it
I
back.
pretend I don't see that. I think you put it back and just shuffle it again.
Yes. Okay. Now my turn there.
Done. Okay. Berarti that now is round 2. I draw 2 cards. Uh, I'm gonna waste my 2 cap on playing 2 Ventus. Berarti I get Arcanum for my next itu tuh, anjir. Oh, I forgot to tell the duration. Shit. It was for 2 turns. I forgot to write that. Oh, okay. Now I'm done.
Just you have to. Is that all you play then?
Yeah, I can only play 2 cards.
Alright. I draw 3 now? Right? Do I draw 3?
You still play 2 because it's only for round 1. Sal?
What?
It's only for round 1. I
Huh?
mean, player 2 only draw 2 and play 2. It's only for round 1. Round 2, you still take 2 and play 2.
This is already round
Wait, is it
3,
round? It's
right?
round 2. It's in round 2?
This is round 3.
Or round 3? Oh, that's my bad then.
Yeah. Then I draw 3 and I can play 3, right? So.
Yeah, but I forgot to draw 1 more card. So yeah,
3 per Ignis.
20 damage. Eh?
I end my turn.
Berapa damage?
And then I.
Wait, let me see. It's okay. Berarti I receive 20 damage. Berarti it's 35. Yeah, 35.
Yeah.
Okay, Arcanum. Durationnya 3 kan. Berarti gue mau jadi 2, but I can draw 2 more cards. Ini round 3 kan?
Mhm.
Round 3. Berarti gue bisa I can draw 3. I can draw 5 berarti. Bener. 1, 2, 3, 4. I forgot to clarify. Each player maximal 10 cards. Okay, in their hand. Berarti I can play 3 kan? Okay, if I can play 3, I will play 2 Ventus and 1 Terra. I heal myself by 15 points. So I'm back to 50.
Alright.
Yep. Okay, I'm done.
Round 4, I draw 4 cards,
Yeah,
right?
you draw 4 cards, you play 4 cards.
I play 3 Terra.
Mega Armor berarti ya. Mega Armor, you put another dice under your Mega Armor card
Alright.
thingy.
Then I'll also play Ventus to draw 1.
Okay, ini
And then
round 4
that's
kan?
all.
That's all. Okay. Berarti ini
How
round
much
4,
is the armor?
14. It was 14 kan? I think I wrote 14
Could
there.
you copy a dice again?
Yeah, 14. Oh, okay, sorry. You cannot copy. Wait, that's
I
14,
don't
right?
have host privileges.
How do I give you?
You-
Ntar aja lah. Not now. Okay. Now it's my turn. Round 4, I can draw 4. I can play 4. Tapi karena I got that buff, I can draw 5 technically. Karena, yeah, I have 10 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Shit. I got no. I got. Oh, sorry, bad word. I have no other card. Wait. I'll play 2 Terra, 1 Ventus. Quicksand. I deal 12 damage to you.
Alright.
I can still play. How many cards? Wait, where's my round cards?
It's supposed to be 4. You play
Oh,
3.
yeah.
I can play 1.
Yeah. I still can play one more. Then I'll play an Aventus to redraw.
Alright.
Oh my god.
So
Okay,
now
it's
you
your turn.
draw
You,
5
yeah.
cards.
You receive burn damage. 3.
Yeah, already.
Ready, okay. Increase the duration. Udah kan?
Burn. Huh?
Oh, yeah, I
What?
reduce. Have you reduced the duration of the burn? Udah kan?
Yeah, it's gone now. It's gone. It's already 3 turns.
I forgot.
Hmm. Triple Ignis. I play Supernova.
Okay, that's 20 damage again. 20 damage kung ano.
So I can play 2 more, right? I
20
then just
damage.
play.
Di kan, Supernova kan, bener kan?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Supernova terus gue
No,
mesti
my
play
cards.
dua cap lagi. I can play
Oopsie.
Earthstorm with 2 Terra. So I have 7 normally.
Udah kan?
Yep.
Hmm. I draw 5 cards kan, tapi karena I have like 4, 5, 6, 7, I can only draw 3.
Uh, why did you give it to me?
Ah, did I deal?
Yeah, you deal instead.
Oh no. Wait, habar flip. Shuffle. Shuffle. Okay. You got apa? You got return ya?
Yeah.
He. Okay then. I'll play two Ven. Wait, I got. Never mind. I got two Ven. Shit. Uh, I guess I'll play two Ignis, one Terra. I deal eight
So
damage to you.
eight straight then.
But yeah, I receive 4 damage kan? You got return right?
Yes.
8 damage, berarti 4 damage,
41 kurang.
berarti 26 health. But I pierce your armor though, itu kan piercing.
Iya, jadi langsung health. 41 kurang 8 is 30 berapa?
33, I think.
Iya, 33. What else?
I still have 2 cards ya to play.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll play 2 Terra again.
you get return as
Return. I also get like what?
I
How
lose.
many defense? Uh, I get. Yeah, I get to 7 defense too. So defense, rotation value 7. Then where's Earthstone? 7 until yeah 4 turns. Okay, rotation value 4. Okay, now it's your turn. This is round 5. Nggak, ini round 6 eh. I mean we don't call it afterwards karena udah pasti 5-5. So yeah.